Another one bites the dust. Ay. Another one bites the dust. Ay, ay. That was one of my favorite songs as a child of the 80s on a Friday night as I swirled around the roller skating ring. But apparently that is the brand new theme song for Archewell Foundation. Harry and Meghan and their house of cards are starting to show some major cracks and have suffered a huge blow as yet another staffer makes a grand exit. Why are Harry and Meghan having such a hard time retaining staff? In today's video, we're going to discuss the real behind-the-scenes drama that is unfolding at Archewell Foundation and is the writing on the wall for Harry and Meghan. You guys, we have a lot of juicy royal daily tea to get through today, so you know what to do. Sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the royal daily tea. Hello and welcome to the Royal Daily Tea. If you're new here, hi, my name is Michelle and we discuss all things royal with a side of facts and humor. I also have another YouTube channel, Royal Daily Tea History and Fashion, where we discuss royals from around the world, fashion, and other interesting topics. So if you'd like to check out my other YouTube channel, be sure to check out the link listed in the description. Now we just hit 36,000 subscribers and we are well on our way to hitting my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you like today's content and you have not yet subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Now let's get into today's video. So the news came out that another Archewell Foundation employee by the name of Josh Kettler, the chief of staff, has left the company rather abruptly after barely completing 90 days. That's barely 3 months of employment. Seems to me that he found his life raft and jumped off the Titanic before the iceberg hit. Incoming! He sounds like a very intelligent man. Now, he was originally hired to, quote, guide Harry into his next phase, whatever the heck that means. We still don't know exactly what Archewell Foundation is or what it does, and we certainly don't know what Harry brings to the table. Now, he did accompany Harry in May for the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games, and he also joined Harry and Meghan for their trip in Nigeria. But the timing is a bit suspect that he decided to exit the company right before a huge 4-day tour of Colombia. Seems a bit brash to me. Now, according to Harry and Meghan's team, they said it was a very mutual parting of ways, that quite frankly, it just wasn't a good fit and it didn't work out. But I think we all know that's not true. According to some sources, all was not well behind the scenes at Archewell Foundation. Now, someone like Josh Kettler, he's not exactly like a minimum wage worker. He is a man who makes over 6 figures. He is a professional. He has a lot of experience working for high-level people. So someone like him to abruptly exit after only 90 days is very, very suspect. Now, Harry and Meghan don't exactly have the best track record for retaining their employees. They've lost something like 18 employees in the past 5 years, with 9 of them since 2020. Now, according to an insider behind the scenes at Archewell, it's not exactly a positive, happy environment. Many people fear for their jobs and they're walking around on eggshells. It apparently is a very toxic work environment. Now, according to the insider, Josh was brought on to work directly with Harry, and him and Harry got on very, very well. But as time progressed, Josh found out very quickly that it's the Meghan show, that she is the HBIC, the head biatch in charge, and she wears the pants in that household. Harry's pretty useless, according to the insider. He just tries to make Meghan happy and pretty much stays out of her way. So according to the insider, Josh found out that he was going to be doing the work of about 5 people, with the salary of one, and he got tasked with helping Meghan Markle launch her fledgling lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. And he was not a happy camper when he found out he was going to be saddled with that responsibility. Now we know that Meghan right now, it's just a mess. Okay, that whole launch is a complete disaster. So Josh was tasked to find her a CEO to help her run her lifestyle brand. The problem is Meghan was very picky. She wanted the cream of the crop. She wanted a needle in a haystack of a CEO. The problem is Josh couldn't get good candidates. He was having a very hard time finding people who wanted to work for Meghan Markle. You have to remember, people of that caliber work for huge established corporations, not a startup with an ex-duchess and her janky jam that's rotting in her garage somewhere. She is a startup, and it's been a complete disaster for the past 5 months. So they've had a really hard time finding a CEO who wants to take on this position. Not to mention, Meghan can't really afford them. These are people who make 7 figures, and Meghan's paying 6 figures for this role. You have to remember, Harry makes $1 million a year to work at BetterUp doing absolutely nothing, but BetterUp has the money. Meghan and American Riviera Orchard do not have the money to pay a high-level CEO the one that she wants. So according to the insider, Josh did have 1 or 2 candidates who made it through the interview process, but for whatever reason, an offer was not given or accepted, and he still has not been able to land a CEO ever since she launched her company in March. So as of today, there is still not a CEO. Another task that he was tasked to do was to help her find funding for American Riviera Orchard. Remember, he was tasked to help Harry, and he's now being saddled with Meghan Markle's fledgling lifestyle brand. Can you just imagine how he hated going to work every single day? So of course, he had a hard time finding funding for her lifestyle brand that's been nothing but a complete disaster from the very beginning. Meghan does have a lot of high-powered friends who might give her a ride on a private jet, invite her to a party, but giving her a check for $1 or $2 million to invest in your company is a whole other thing. Most people who are real investors, real entrepreneurs, are going to do a SWOT analysis, the pros and cons, and realize that Meghan is kind of a lost cause. This is a huge investment, and they're probably not going to make their money back. People nowadays with the economy just don't want to piss away a couple $1 million for their friend Meghan. Again, nobody wants her janky jam that's rotting in her garage. Usually when someone comes in as an investor, they want to wait till you have all the paperwork, all the legalities, you have a product that's ready to go, and you have a store that's putting in an order for a large amount. Then they come in with their checkbook and they write you a check so you can produce the product, and they're immediately going to get a return on their investment. But Meghan just expects people to hand over a check because they're millionaires, they're her friends. Said Meghan Markle at American Riviera Orchard is a bad investment. So everyone is avoiding her, they're not answering her phone calls, and she is having a nightmare of a time launching American Riviera Orchard. Then you have Josh, who was technically hired to be the chief of staff, work alongside Harry, who's now getting sidelined doing Meghan Markle's pet project from hell, trying to get this off the ground and being blamed for everything that's not his fault, and having to deal with Medusa herself. So I can just imagine he literally had to probably talk himself into walking into the office every single day. I think we've all been there with a job. I've had to convince myself several times to get out of my car and go into a horrible, toxic work environment. So I can just imagine those 90 days probably felt like 10 years. So according to the insider, the job was not what he thought it was going to be. There was high demands from Meghan that were unrealistic and that she simply didn't listen. Now, an insider also said that the work environment was very, very toxic, and that we all know that Harry and Meghan are very, very paranoid. They always think that people are ripping them off, that they're backstabbing, that they're selling stories to the press. Everyone has a very tightly signed NDA. But according to the insider, they felt like Doria was the eyes and ears of Meghan Markle, that she was always lurking around, and somehow emails and phone calls would be repeated verbatim back to Meghan and Harry. They felt like they were being watched and surveillanced. I would not be surprised if they were being recorded, they were being filmed, if Doria was walking around with a little notepad, oh, did he take a break longer than he should have? They're basically treating them like children, like people who are working a minimum wage job. These are highly educated professionals making six figures that work for huge corporations and very successful people. And everyone was afraid of Meghan walking on eggshells, and that he wouldn't be surprised if more people didn't exit the company by the end of the year. Ouch. So in my opinion, I hope that Josh has a great job lined up, because Harry and Meghan are not the type of people you want to make as an enemy. And we all know how paranoid Meghan Markle is of betrayal. So what do y'all think? Do you believe this story that there was a lot of negativity and toxic environment at Archewell Foundation? And do you believe that Harry and Meghan were spying on their own employees and perhaps being told on by Doria? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.